able to see them for a little bit and just kept up with my brothers and sisters and my parents, and they're all good. So that's reassuring to me because I know everyone doesn't have that story. So I'm blessed that we're so tight knit that we can kind of like keep each other uplifted. I know this is a struggle for a lot of people, so family support is huge for me.
Yeah, so I live in Jersey. I live in Jersey too, and they extended our lockdown to like June 6th now in New Jersey. So that's how bad it is, and hopefully, hopefully this thing goes away soon. But it's just crazy. But for the viewers who just joined, can you explain your background a little bit? Because and then see, when did you get interested in the sports industry, and when did you get the opportunity to be the Cavaliers sideline reporter, and who was your biggest influencer in that?
All right, so to start from the beginning, just my background, I am a tomboy, so I'm a state. I played basketball pretty much my whole life, but really active in all sports. Played basketball at Florida State University. Loved my school, go Noles. I went on to do a bunch of internships, worked with Fox Sports Orlando, worked with WCTV in Tallahassee, went back home to work with Comcast, worked with UCLA when I moved out to LA. Came back home and started working with Georgia Tech as well as the Atlanta Dream, which I feel like was the biggest step for my career because I wasn't getting paid that much, but I was able to get a lot of experience in Sideline. That was my first Sideline gig. When I was at Fox Sports in Orlando, I was doing more reporting, so like sitting down, doing a lot of features, and I was actually an intern at the time, but I was just so aggressive in what I wanted to do. And the producers saw that as well, so they gave me opportunity. So that just worked out in my favor. Also, just for me getting this job now, this is my second year with the Cavs. But it was just me just plugging away. I was working with ESPN and CBS Sports. I still work with CBS Sports for college football right now. But it was just me plugging away with what I know my passion is. I play basketball. I talk about basketball all the time. A lot of my friends still play basketball. So it's just something I eat and breathe all the time. So the fact that I could call it a job, quote unquote, is pretty cool. So yeah, that's just something that a lot of hard work has gone into it. A lot of unpaid gigs to this point, and also just a lot of faith too. I talked to you about my family before, and I don't think I could have done this without them because those steps that I had to take to get to this point, I needed their support. Like, I needed a place to stay. I needed someone else that's going to cook me still. So I think just when you look at all those things together, it's put me to this point, and it's definitely been a village.
Yeah, but shout out to Ariel Chambers who just joined the chat. I had her on. I had her on recently. Actually, I think it was 2 days ago on my show, and she was a great interviewer. So she does a great job. So shout out to her who just joined.
Can I say something too?
Yeah.
Ari's one of my closest friends. Ari, it's just an inspiration for me to see her. I just remember just being at an ACC Media Day. We weren't getting paid to be there. But we just talked to one another about what the next steps were going to be, what we wanted in this field. And this job has a funny way of sifting people out that are in it for the wrong reasons. Nari is one of those people that is just driven. She's passionate. She believes in herself. And you just knew in due time something was going to shake. Something was going to crack.
Yeah.
And just see her shining on where she is now. A lot of people think that women don't support one another, but it literally is so encouraging. It's inspiring. To see her shine on the level that she's at, and I'm definitely fangirling every time she's out there. So, hey, Ari.
So before we get to your Cavaliers career, I just want to talk about your Atlanta Dream experience because speaking of Atlanta Dream, I'm having Renee on next week, Renee Montgomery. And but for you, what was the experience like being a reporter for the Atlanta Dream and getting that experience covering that team?
Scary. I had no idea what I was doing, to be quite frank. I remember walking in on my first day and the producer saying, okay, we're going to meet right at the security gate. Walking into the arena, which is now State Farm Arena, I believe, but it was Phillips Arena at the time. And the producer said, have you done this before? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, this will be fun. Oh, man, I messed up a couple of times. I went through so much and just like learning who I was and understanding what it meant to be a reporter and share stories and, be professional on this level, but also be approachable. So that was ground zero for me. I had to go through a lot. I had to learn a lot. I was watching a podcast or a webinar, I guess, yesterday, and Jamel Hill talked about knowing who you are before you start. And I think you can know that, but also it's going to teach you a lot of things on how you adjust and how you mature. Mm-hmm. And I think Atlanta Dream, that was definitely one of the moves for me, and how I learned how to negotiate for myself, how I, that was my first time working with an actual professional team. So what that's like, traveling with them, just, the corporate side of things, and, social media and how that's portrayed. So I learned so much. I still think I wouldn't be at this job right now had it not been for that opportunity. And I got that job because someone believed in me. I told you I didn't have experience to just jump in and do that. However, sometimes it's about who you know. And one of my mentors, LaTanya Robinson, was actually the analyst for that team. And she said, "We need you. We would love to have a sideline." To be transparent, I think I got paid $2,500 that entire summer. But it was really, really cool because that's awesome. Job. I was living my dream. So it was really cool to just have that experience. I was definitely poor, but it was awesome to work. Not just that job, but the platform it gave me to work with NBA TV, and those are national games. So I definitely don't take those moments for granted.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really awesome. But so this is my next question. Would you say that obviously your mentor, Latina Robinson, but would you say Jemele Hill was another role model of yours growing up?
I was it's Latina because she gets on people about the pronunciation.
Oh, sorry. What is it?
She will say something. But Latina Robinson, okay. For sure. Jemele Hill. Surprisingly, it's so weird because I'm in Braves now. I'm not on air at this point, but she was the early talent that I saw that I was like, she can wear braids and get away with it. An African American woman in business. Yeah. That wasn't always the case. You go on set, and to outsiders, this is an ethnic hairstyle. So just to have, the courage to step out and do this is because of people like her. So even if she doesn't know that she was a mentor and just a role model for me, of course she is. I think she's unapologetically herself. And I think the authenticity that she brings is rare. A lot of people are trying to see what other people are doing and how they can do it that way in order to, get to the next level. But just be yourself. I always tell the people that I'm mentoring too, they hired you for you, not for you to be somebody else. Your resume isn't going to be like anyone else's. So just don't be afraid to be yourself. You're going to learn new things about yourself all the time. But I think just with Jemele, she just teaches, like, she's learning things about herself too. And when I can look up to people that are transparent and authentic, I'd rather do that than anything.
Yeah, so before we get to the Cavaliers team as a whole, I want to talk about your experience so far with the Cavaliers as a sideline reporter, because I feel like you obviously, first of all, you do a great job as always as a sideline reporter. So what's the experience like covering the Cavaliers? And obviously they're a young and developing team, but what's the experience like so far covering that team?
First, thank you. Secondly, this is my second year with them. So the first year, I knew who cared. So it really is a family, and it's not just with the Cavs. I'm doing something now called Sideline to Sideline, where I get on IG Lives with other sideline reporters too from the league, because we miss each other. We see each other so much, and now we don't. So it is a family, and I don't think I would have gotten through the first season, which is very rough for me without them. But now in the second season, you kind of know, you expect, what the season is going to be. You have a better understanding of what you need to be. I think my confidence grew a great deal. And just covering a team where it's always going to be somebody new. There's going to be a trade. We had a coaching change. So we had even a coaching change in the first season too. So, and like all the other reporters are like, you should be out there like playing with it. That's how it's But just literally, I have to understand that my name isn't on the box score. My job is to cover and tell the stories. And once I focus on that, then that's all I need to be doing.
Yeah, so obviously there are a lot of young pieces, and they have a few veteran pieces also, Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love. And how is it like talking to those players every day, especially Kevin Love, because I feel like that he deserves to win a championship, in my opinion.
I like your story because a lot of times you see the international players come over, and it's just an adjustment. It's an adjustment with the speed, the physicality of the game, I think we have the best talent and players in the world. So that's an adjustment. But the fact that he, for his first year, was able to learn under LeBron James, and LeBron dubbed him as one of those guys that he loved and was going to be dangerous in this league. And then the following year, for him to get some major tick and understand what he needed to be, he's been a really cool story to cover, especially when he's going against LeBron. I think, too, just with the youth, as we've alluded to before, it's really cool, just seeing young guys on any team, shine. It's happens across the board with NBA as well. So, seeing Ja Morant, just go off and be fearless. These guys are living their best lives and just they get the opportunity to do what they love and just be in a league that everybody aspires to be in. And the fact that they are able to do that and we get to cover it is pretty cool.
Yeah, so
I would have to say, I think it was more of an initiation game for me too. Is when we were in Indiana, and it was a last second, pretty much a buzzer beater by Larry Nance Jr. And he put the ball back. We win. I'm going crazy because I'm what am I going to ask him? I guess the winning shot is a good place to start. But they come over with cups and just douse them, and they get me a little bit too. But he runs off, and I'm so what am I supposed to do now? But it was really cool because in that moment, you don't think about okay, a record, or you don't think about the next game. At that moment, it's just how much of a family are and having fun, and just sharing that story. And that was a really cool moment because it was a tough team and it was a comeback game too, and no one was expecting us to walk away with a win. So those moments like that are really, really cool. And it was pretty funny too. For the next game, I think we went to Washington or something like that. And just the fans there, because I think we have really good followings. The fans at the next arena are how's your hair? Is everything okay? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, here's my next question. How often do you keep in contact with these players, especially during this tough time? Because the NBA doesn't, Adam said,
that's my question.
This is this is a new question I'm bringing up into the rapid fire question, so I'm just trying to get everyone's reaction to it. Favorite food?
Favorite food? Seafood.
Favorite hip hop artist currently and old school?
Oh, old school for sure. I can't say artist. I can say group. Outkast. I'm an AT alien, so they're always going to be my favorite group. Right now, oh, that's tough. I'm more of a conscious type rap person right now. I really, really like Sir, or I like Kendrick. Kendrick and J. Cole right now for me are
Yeah, for me it's Tupac, Biggie, and then currently it's Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Tory Lanez, Drake, Meek Mill, and Rick Ross, and a lot. I listen.
Had a little in the front, then we're good to go. I don't know.
So, favorite thing to do outside of your job?
Interior design.
Favorite sports movie?
Love basketball.
Ja Morant or Trae Young? Right now. Ja Morant.
Ice Trae is cold. Let's not get it twisted, but Ja, I've seen the damage he can do, and he just strikes fear at a lot of people's eyes. So, I enjoy watching him. He's just so entertaining. He has a bright future in this league.
Do you see? Actually, let me ask you this: do you see Colin Sexton being up in the upper tier level like Trae Young or Ja Morant?
I think he's already there.
Okay.
He's a rising star. Who's there in Chicago this past year. One of the most competitive people that I've ever been around. They call him Young Bull for a reason, and he's going to be a very, very good player.
So the last few things here, I've been asking this question to all my guests that come on the show about the late Kobe Bryant and what he meant to them. So for you as a silent reporter and an analyst, and what has Kobe meant to you, his daughter especially, and mama mentality?
So just for me, it's still kind of touch. Like on my coffee stand right now, I probably almost have every magazine that Kobe had after his death, and it was very tough to hear about that. But what has he meant to me? I think just how to have that Mamba mentality and not be Kobe. I remember doing my interview with him, and Gigi was there. It was actually the WNBA Finals. Minnesota the Sparks. They were playing at Staples Center. He walks in. I had to go over to ask him about an interview, and I was crazy. I was shook. I was like, "Oh God, what if he says no?" But that interview was one of my favorite interviews of all time. We got to talk about Mamba mentality. We got to talk about the players that he enjoyed watching in the league. And I think one of the biggest things for me is that even with him being a standout player in the league, a lot of people diss women that play for whatever reason. I have no idea. Most of those people are irrelevant anyway. But I think it's cool because he knew the history of the WNBA. He forged relationships with those women, and he inspired women to be greater and work with them. He's working with Sabrina. He was working with different players in the WNBA at the time, and he had his daughter's team. Even the previous year, I saw them when the Sparks were playing Las Vegas. So I just think his heart for the game. He didn't put a gender on it. He just knew the game was important, and if you put everything into it, that's when the respect. When you had his respect. So just seeing that, just seeing how he just maneuvered, through different things in his life, and he was just becoming a mogul just in so many different things beyond basketball, a true entrepreneur, and just a mind, like just looking at the memorial and seeing at the funeral that he taught, whatever, Bach, like piano lesson or whatever for his wife. He is a great mind, or was a great mind, and definitely sad that he's gone, and his daughter, and always have their family in my prayers. But for a guy like that, he's definitely left an impression on this world, and it definitely makes me want to be better.
Yeah, I'm not forgetting about the other people that were in the helicopter, but especially for Gianna, that my heart broke when Gianna was involved, because she was 13 years old, actually 14. And then she was UConn destined to be in UConn, and she had everything what Kobe had. She had a fadeaway shot like him already, which was awesome, and it was just devastating when I heard her name in the news. Oh my God, I was like, man. But before we get to the last thing, I forgot to bring this up to you. Thoughts on this Michael Jordan documentary?
It's our saving grace at this point, right? Like, there's not much else you can watch. I think we've watched everything else on Netflix. But it's a reminder to me why he's the GOAT. I think a lot of us, especially the 80s babies, kind of missed out on how great he was. Like, hear it, and so you're like, oh, I hear he's the GOAT. But now you're seeing why they said it. Now you're seeing what went into it. Now you're seeing, like, what type of personality he was on and off the floor. And I was one of those guys where I was just like, yeah, he might be cool. He has a ring, whatever. But, like, I'm still rocking with the people that I rock. But I respect his game so much more just seeing it and how it's brought everybody together. I think the documentary is one thing, but how in this time, how needed it is to bring people together just to talk sports is huge, So it's really cool. I look forward to every Sunday. I'm sad this is the last Sunday that's going to be.
I know.
But I tell you something, I walk away with something new every Sunday. It's fun, engaging in those conversations with other people that love sports too.
Yeah, so for me, I'm learning a lot from this, because I told my friends that after this is over, this Sunday, I'm going to write a big piece on this, a blog. So getting my own, telling everybody about my own perspective watching this, because I didn't really get to watch Michael Jordan play. So I'm going to write a big piece on this and then get my own perspective and tell people. But the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the frontline people?
Oh, yeah. My mom's on the front line. She's over a hospital in Decatur, Georgia. So I think the fact that we're in the comfort of our homes right now, and they're out there, saving lives, says a lot. I mean, we can't get out of this without them. We all heard about flattening the curve and doing what we need to do to be conscious about saving lives. And if this is what we need to do to help them, then I'm all for it. So I'm really saying thank you. And definitely for everyone else, I hope that you're being healthy and safe and keeping everybody in my prayers, because we definitely are in this together.
Yeah, so whoever's in this live or chat, I have a link in my bio. My cousin and I and my brother, we have a GoFundMe page going up right now, and we have the link is in my bio on Instagram. It's for the frontline people, all the local food businesses. we raised over 2K already, and we handed out food supplies and other supplies to all the nurses, doctors, and to the soup kitchen. So we're going to continue that until this is over, because we're trying to help in any way to cure this. I mean, it's not going to get cured, obviously, but to help lessen the thing. And then the nurses and doctors deserve a lot right now. So we're trying to help in any way for them. But everyone, please go check the link in my bio. But there she is, the lovely, talented Angel Gray, sideline reporter for the Cavaliers, Cleveland Cavaliers. Keep up the great work. I love what you do. I'm looking forward for more content, and hopefully there's a regular season, but let's see. But thank you for coming on my podcast. You and your family stay safe.